Yes, hello. This is Words Free, chapter 1, and a lesson about words free on Sailstar's theory courses on sailing. And of course, we are still pretty much basic here. And we have had the words 1 and 2. So we have had the bow, and we have the stern. We have transom, which is really stern, the side of the stern. We have port side, which is the left side of the boat. We have starboard, which is the right side of the boat. I filled in one more here. The cockpit is the thing that you sit in, either in a dinghy or a big boat. Still a cockpit. On the side of the boat, we look at the starboard side. We have a freeboard. All the thing itself, it's called hull. We have the mast, we have the boom, we have the mainsail, and we have head sails, and whereof 2 of them is either the jib or the Genoa, which is bigger one, head sail, stuck to the forestay here. So we have a few more things to talk about. This thing going down into the water, and if this is a big boat, like a keel boat, this is the keel. And this is also a bulb on the keel. If this is a dinghy, well, then we have something else there, and that's a centerboard. Or it can also be a dagger board. Slightly difference between a dagger board and a centerboard. Dagger board, I will put it here, dagger board. A dagger board is the one that you really push down and pull up. It goes like a stick, goes down here and goes up, and the centerboard it slides like this, and the centerboard is attached usually to a bolt or something else that it could slide around like this. Good thing if you hit the ground, then it hopefully will slide up. Dagger board doesn't, but dagger board on the other hand is quite firm and it stays there. And this is also like the difference between a keel boat and a sailing dinghy. That's a keel boat, it has a keel, and the keel is heavy. And if the keel is heavy, it can have a bulb. More modern boats has a bulb, where the most of the weight of the keel is in here in the bulb, and like the centerboard or sword itself, it's not so heavy. So of course the primary target, the primary thing for having a keel or centerboard is to keep the boat on track, to not drift away when we're sailing up the wind. So it's not in primary target to keep the boat in balance and not to capsize, but for a keel which is heavy, as soon as the boat starts to heel, of course we have a weight on the keel that want to push up the boat again. But on the centerboard in a sailing dinghy we don't have that. So on a dinghy, then we need to have our body mass on the right side, so we will actually use our body mass to don't let the boat heel too much, or not at all, hopefully, when it's talking about the dinghy. We have a few other really important stuff here, and that's the ropes that we are actually using for letting in and letting out the sails. So we have a rope here that it is touched in that corner of the jib or Genoa, and this is called sheet. And we also have a sheet attached to the boom. It could be either in the end of the boom or somewhere along the boom, or even on both the end and somewhere else. So that's the sheet for the mainsail, so that's obviously then the main sheet, and this is the jib sheet or Genova sheet. So that when we are sailing, we also use the verb sheeting, because we are letting out, easing the sheets when we going in some other direction, and we are like pulling the sheet harder. Keel, centerboard, daggerboard. Oh, we have forgotten this one. This slightly thing that we need to use, it's rudder. And the rudder itself, it has a rudder axis going up here, and for dinghies and smaller boats it's usually a tiller attached to the rudder axis that we using the tiller to steer the boat, and to the tiller it's also a tiller extension. And when we sailing the dinghies, I'm usually telling my students that the tiller extension will be your worst enemy and your best friend. Bigger boats, well, they usually don't have tillers, they have a wheel instead. So then the axis, the rudder axis, is connected to some kind of mechanical, so that we can steer the boat with a wheel. And now we're going to talk about wind.